morning. Welcome back to Chicago's Morning Answer. Amy Jacobson here. Sean from Elmwood Park sitting in for Dan Proft. And we had a busy weekend, all eyes on North Korea. They had this big parade where they were honoring Kim Jong-un's grandfather's 105th birthday. And they were exhibiting, rolled down these new missile systems that could attack the U.S. mainland. And then they had a failed launch. I mean, it literally exploded in their faces, literally blew up. And Mike Pence, they did that because Vice President Mike Pence is in the DMZ, the demilitarized zone in South Korea. And he's talking tough.
Well, I think as the president's made clear that we're going to abandon the failed policy of strategic patience, but we're going to redouble our efforts to bring diplomatic and economic pressure to bear on North Korea. Our hope is that we can resolve this issue peaceably. And I know the president was heartened by his discussions with President Xi. We've seen China begin to take some actions to bring pressure on North Korea, but there needs to be more.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be more. And people are fearful of World War III or going to war at all. And we might have preemptive strikes. That's still on the table, according to the National Security Advisor, who was on with Martha Raddatz over the weekend.
The military option's still on the table?
Oh, all options are on the table, undergoing refinement and further development.
And how close do you think North Korea is to having a nuclear weapon capable of reaching the United States?
Well, estimates in these sorts of things vary widely. What is clear, as long as their behavior continues, as long as they continue missile development, even though this was a failed missile, they get better and they learn lessons. And so what's critical is for them to stop this destabilizing behavior, stop the development of these weapons, and denuclearize. And that is in the best interest of everyone in the region, and ultimately it's in the best interest of the North Korean people.
So what should we do? What should be done? Let's get the latest as we welcome Jed Babbin back to the program, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense and contributor to the Washington Times and the American Spectator. Mr. Babbin, good morning.
Well, thanks for having me. Good morning, Amy.
So what do you think that we're going to go to war with North Korea?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that President Trump wants to start a war there. What he's basically saying, he and Vice President Pence, they're both saying that if the North Koreans get farther out of line, there are going to be big consequences. Now, you don't want to ignite a war in the Korean Peninsula because however it starts, it's going to end badly. And thousands upon thousands of people, perhaps many more, will get killed. This is not something you can go into just willy-nilly, and I don't think the president wants to start it. However, there is a danger. There's always a danger with somebody like Kim Jong-un that he's going to ignite something that, quite frankly, is going to get out of hand very quickly.
So are these?
We're going to have to watch. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, but the new missiles that they paraded out on Saturday, are they operational? And do you believe that they could reach the U.S.?
Some are operational. Some, I'm advised, were not real missiles. They were missile containers.
Oh.
So we really don't know what they've got. They apparently have submarine-launched ballistic missiles that they can reach some targets with, and they very well may be able to reach the United States because, obviously, a submarine can deploy from almost anywhere. So the real issue is, what is the real threat? We can't really define it right now, but it looks like it's growing very rapidly and has possibly already passed the intolerable point. So we just don't know.
Judd, I have a question for you. It is an economic failure. The entire country is steeped in absolute poverty. They can only feed Kim Jong-un. He's the only guy that eats there.
And clearly he doesn't say no.
Their entire energy is given to them by China. They have virtually no successful infrastructure. Can't we just freeze them out? Can't we just freeze them out till they overthrow him and help them overthrow him rather than risk nuclear war?
Well, who's them? The problem is there's no them there. If you're looking for the people of North Korea to unite somehow and overthrow him, that's not going to happen. The military is dominant there. The people, the general people, who are there, 24, 25 million people there, they literally live in the dark and the cold. Yeah. They have no means of overthrowing anybody. So if he's going to be overthrown at all, it's going to be by the military. And that ain't likely to happen because they're almost as fat and dumb and stupid as he is. So the fact of the matter is there's a ruling class there that is so far removed from anything resembling the people that there's no way to have them overthrown. The Chinese are not going to help. They're not going to do a doggone thing. The fact of the matter is They said they were cutting off coal imports. Well, their trade with North Korea has increased 37% in just the first quarter of this year. The fact also is that, as I reported in the American Spectator today, these guys were helping, the Chinese are helping the North Koreans build their missiles. And the fact also is that the Iranians are helping them or collaborating with them in developing nuclear weapons. So all of those things come together. The Chinese aren't going to do a bloody thing to help us. And the question really is, how far does this get pressed before the North Koreans create such a danger that we have to attack them? That's a question we don't know. Again, I don't want to start a war there. I don't think the president does either. But it may very well come without our, regardless of what we want.
So then this weekend, where President Trump went golfing with the 11, and he got back after the conversation and said he's a great guy. I like him a lot. We've got a lot of trust and respect. Was that the George W. Bush's "I looked into Vladimir Putin's eyes and he's lovable" moment?
I saw his soul.
Yeah.
Well, it may be. Mm-hmm. Who knows? Xi Jinping is a very crafty guy. The Chinese government is anything but stupid. And, the real truth of the matter is President Trump, unfortunately, is a bit out of his depth. He has not had any experience, any training, any education in national security or foreign affairs. And, he may want to become a big wheeler dealer. I mean, he already is one, God knows, in the commercial world. But dealing with, real estate transactions and dealing with Xi Jinping is really two different animals.
And him and Kim Jong-un, it seems they're going tit for tat on Twitter. And I just, I know we probably shouldn't be gloating about this failed launch, but is it a possibility that the U.S., that we had a cyber attack, and that's how the missile launch failed?
Well, sure. Malcolm Rifkin, former foreign minister of Great Britain, has said that we had done that, and that's why their missile exploded. I only hope it's true. If it isn't, we ought to develop that capability and deploy it like right now. So the fact of the matter is a lot of things can be done covertly, including cyber attacks and various other means of taking out their infrastructure and their capabilities. I mean, we should be doing all of those. Again, you don't need to go to war if you can do things short of war that will have the same effect.
I agree with you 100%, by the way. I don't like the idea that if politicians make decisions that send 18-year-old kids. We already lost 39,000 guys in Korea during that war. I don't want to revisit that again.
Sean.
Yeah.
It's not up to us.
No, I know. How about another mother of all bombs? Can we drop one of that? That shores up the voting points.
Well, I mean, we may want to drop a whole bunch of those. The fact of the matter is North Korea says they've got thousands upon thousands of artillery pieces and millions of men who are going to come marching across the border in the event the North Koreans want to start a war with South Korea. You know what? That's what the Moab has meant. I mean, you kill everything within a square mile of one of those babies, and, that's going to defeat thousands and thousands and thousands of artillery pieces in about 5 seconds.
Well, what about our missile? Is there a missile defense system set up there, obviously? I mean, we presume, but assumption's the mother of all screw-ups, so I shouldn't assume anything.
Well, we've got one that's on the way in there. The missile defense system, the THAAD system, I keep forgetting, terminal high-altitude anti-air system, anti-air defense, whatever it is, THAAD, is in Japan. I think it's on the way into South Korea. And I think, the sooner we get it there, the better. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to have a lot of means defending against a North Korean attack. And again, we're not going to be the ones who attack. If they want to attack, there isn't a whole lot we can do about that, Sean. And I'm, God bless you, but this is what I heard all through the 1960s. Oh, if we didn't do something, we would not be in trouble. This is what we hear all the time.
No, I understand that. And earlier I said that the show, just hit the guy strategically. I just don't want to send troops. That's all. Find out where the only pizza's being delivered in North Korea and bomb within a square mile. We got him. Problem solved. I'm not anti-war. In fact, I want to put Trump in a leotard and him, put him in an MMA match and fight to the death. Winner take all. I mean, I'm not against violence. But I am against sending 18-year-old kids that we can't sell Red Bulls to or cigars to go die in a foreign land. That I'm against. Start the draft at 50. Let's take the 50-year-old my age and go down. I don't want to go 18 and up anymore. I don't like it.
Well, I think that's an idealistic idea, but you and I are not totally on the same wavelength, but pretty close.
Exactly. We don't want to waste our kids.
So what do you think of the mother of all bombs? Was that effective? Was that sending a strong message to ISIS?
Well, it certainly sent a strong message to the 100 or so guys, the cockroaches that we killed there. I think that's a very good weapon to use. And as General Nicholson said, when it was used, we matched the weapon to the target. It's not something you use against any, two guys who are hiding in a cave. But if you got a whole cave network, and this is the kind of thing that you use. And again, if you have acres and acres and acres of artillery that the North Koreans want to start shooting from, okay. I mean, this is the kind of thing you do. I think it sent a message to North Korea. I think it sent a message around the world that President Trump is not messing around. However long that message lasts, we'll never know. We'll probably see pretty quickly that it doesn't last very long.
Jed, I got to tell you, I don't have a problem with killing Taliban. I don't have a problem with dropping the bomb if we know where they are. I don't have a problem with any of that. You know what I got a problem with? Syria, when we kill 18 Kurds and we bury the story for 3 days. I got a problem with bombs to shore up politics. And the problem is by the time we realize what that is, it's already too late down the road. It wasn't that long ago, and you know this, probably when you were working there. Syria, Assad, he was giving us information, wasn't he? After September 11th, wasn't he one of the first to give us information?
That's a big rumor. I don't think it's true.
Oh.
The basic point is, we can do an awful lot of things. And the fact is, sometimes civilians are going to get killed. We are now operating under different rules of engagement that are far better than your buddy Obama had.
Not my buddy.
There had to be. Well, all right. I mean, the point really comes down to this is a different era. President Trump is trying to get more tough with these bad guys, which he should. I'm not saying Trump is doing everything right. God knows he's not. But the point really comes down to here, we have to change the way we do business. And whether it's the massive ordnance air blast weapon or the MOP weapon or, God forbid, some sort of tactical nuke, all of these things have to be in play. And they're going to be in play because we can't tell the bad guys otherwise.
Bingo.
If they believe we're going to limit ourselves, in any way, we're not going to be able to deter or defeat them.
All right.
Let's just say everything's on the table. You guys do what you want to do.
Always a pleasure. Jeb Babbin, former U.S. Deputy Undersecretary of Defense and contributor to the Washington Times, and you could read his article today at the American Spectator. Thank you so much, Mr. Babbin, for joining us.
My pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.